Hey fans, Harley here with my Puddin' Joker. Alright, Puddin', let's give uh, them the sequel that they fucking deserve.
Joker Folie Deux, directed once again by Todd Phillips, director of Joker 2019, and is the 2024 highly anticipated, but at the same time highly skeptical sequel to one of the greatest masterpieces from 2019. Folie tells the story taking place 2 years after the events of Joker 2019, where we see Arthur serving his time in Arkham Asylum for his murders he committed in the previous movie. And his life sucks again after he felt the joy of standing up to society. That is until he meets Harley Quinzel, or Lee, as they call her in this movie, played by Lady Gaga. And she is the one person he feels genuine joy around now, and the one who understands him more than anybody. For and with his upcoming trial for that will decide whether he gets the death penalty or not. Arthur must make the decision: does he want to be Joker or Arthur? Do I need to say how much I love a Joker 2019? I mean, it's is still one of the all-time greatest DC and Warner Brothers movies and comic book films, and deservedly the second comic book movie to receive a Best Picture nomination after 2018's Black Panther. And I would have rather this film won Best Picture than Parasite that year, no question. And it was the film that showed that Todd Phillips is a competent filmmaker after the Hangover trilogy. Plus, it's still Joaquin Phoenix's greatest performance he has ever given, and Arthur Fleck is the greatest character he has ever played, and it deservedly got him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. And Hildur Gorander's haunting piano-like score is I'm still addicted to that score, and I couldn't be happier it took home a Best Original Score that year. Yeah, please hire her more often, Hollywood. And while Joker was initially intended to just be a standalone film, Joaquin did have a possible idea for a sequel even before the first movie was released, and Todd Phillips was open to a sequel depending on the first movie's performance. And after the first movie proved to be a $1 billion hit, first R-rated movie to ever surpass $1 billion, and uh, well, Joaquin and Todd have finally got the confidence they needed to go ahead with the sequel. But Joaquin Phoenix is not the typical actor to take sequels, so it goes to show how passionate he is about the character of Arthur Fleck, and he was willing to come back and play him again. I mean, he commits, even with all the skepticism surrounding this movie. People being like, "Oh, why does Joker have a sequel? It should just stay as one movie." Well, if you think about it, nobody asked for sequels or or franchise world building to The Lion King or Avatar or Jurassic Park or sequels to any hit movie, but they were made anyway. People are okay with Despicable Me 4 getting 4 movies, but not okay with Joker just getting one sequel. Yeah, that is absolutely ludicrous, and I defend this movie being a musical. Why do people have such a problem with musicals? Like, Look at how well Barbie worked as a musical, and Wonka, and even Mean Girls this year. I still stand by Mean Girls as the most underrated movie this year. Even after this movie premiered at the Venice Festival back in September, the reactions to the ending were extremely divisive, and it looks like me and my good pal Frozen Wish Studios, please check out his review by the way, are the only two people that adore this film. Yes, I am not afraid to admit it. Joker Folie is absolutely phenomenal. Holy fuck. I mean, holy fuck, do I adore this movie. And also another special shout out to a dear subscriber of mine, Chelsea Ryan. Yeah, I hope she loves this movie too as much as I do. This may be uh, one of the only rave reviews that exist on YouTube, but I seriously think people are being way too harsh on Folie à Deux. I would love this movie to get more appreciation over the years, and that would be wonderful. But for now, I am like this movie's a lawyer, like Arthur Fleck's lawyer for his trial, giving this masterpiece and a fabulous sequel. It's a defense, and on in all honesty, uh, sorry, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, you've been dethroned. Joker Folie à Deux is now my movie of the year. I called it that this would be my favorite comic book movie this year also. So yeah, as much as I enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine, Folie à Deux is better. I know I'm literally the only one with that opinion, but call me a Warner Brothers bias, call me a DC bias, all you want. This movie has the most astonishing performances of the entire year, starting with my favorite Joker in his second movie. So thankful we got more than one movie with him. Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck slash Joker once again, just phenomenal, and he deserves to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Stats a second time. He did have one dud, Napoleon, last year, but this is his grand return to form, and he literally made the effort to get back into his skinny shape just for this film again. I mean, I can't think of many actors that would make that dedication. He's truly one of my all-time favorite actors, and he gets to sing in this movie, not just Lady Gaga, which I did not expect, and he goes for it. He crushed it. When Arthur sings, he sings from the heart, and it never took me out of the movie. I was absorbed into Arthur's emotional struggle whenever he would express himself through song. He does wear the clown makeup in this movie slightly more than he does in the first, uh, and the perfect counterpart to Walking Phoenix, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. She is not underused whatsoever, no matter what the biased reviews say. She is groundbreaking as Harley Quinn. I mean, Margot Robbie's still my Harley Quinn, but uh, Gaga still crushes it. She still makes for an amazing Harley, and she completely and utterly steals the show in this movie. She deserves a Best Supporting Actress nomination. This is my favorite performance of her, hands down. Like Arthur, you can see what a damaged, mentally challenged soul she is, which is why they are a match made in heaven together. And this movie did the Joker and Harley romance better than any movie version I've ever seen. There is a sweetness to this love story. There is heartbreak. There is pure tragedy. It really does go that far, and I was crying by the end of their relationship. And she is so hardcore. Like, she's an arsonist. She literally sets fire to the movie theater room in Arkham so that she and Arthur can escape it together. She never refers to him as Arthur once in the movie. She's if and and she even went as far as making up the story that she burnt down her parents' home and just when she's really from a wealthy family, just so she could commit herself into Arkham and be with him because she saw the TV movie about him and her outfits and clout and her outfits in this movie out of this world, gorgeous. Like she's gonna be the go-to Halloween costume for all girls to dress as in 2024, and she, of course, is the superior singer between her and Walkeen, even though Walkeen certainly does his best to keep up with her. But I I think the musical sequences both I love that there were some in reality where Lee and Arthur were singing about their feelings and others in in Lee and Arthur's mind uh, where Arthur and Lee would have their wedding and would dance on the rooftop and but the trial musical number where Walking gets to perform "The Joker Is Me," that was one of my absolute favorites. That's particularly stood out. That one was brutal and exhilarating. And "We're Gonna Build a Mountain" had was such a jazz jam, and it had my heart pounding. We have never seen a comic book movie musical until now, so this movie is so original in that way. It should inspire more comic book movie musicals. And this movie is every bit as sophisticated and as great as Joker 2019 as take advantage of its 15 and R rating. Like this is the darkest, most grimmest, and most harrowing blockbuster I have watched this entire year, and not joking. There is a strong violence, particularly when Arthur in "The Joker Is Me" musical sequence in the trial bashes the judge with his hammer, killing him, and then shoots himself in the head. And like, even though it's fantasy, it still felt so real. And of course, there's a cursing throughout, and even brief sex. Yes, Arthur and Lee do get to lose their virginity in Arthur's cell, and she becomes pregnant with their child. It's not just like Gaga and Phoenix that give electrifying performances. No, the supporting cast of both old and new give it their all. Uh, Particularly uh, uh, Brendan Gleeson as the head and abusive prison guard. We all know Brendan Gleeson as Alistair Moody from the Wizarding World. And he is like Arthur's personal bodyguard, and after Arthur insults the guards at his trial, he's like, "Oh, I'm in trouble," and they literally give him what for it, which makes Gotham society corrupt even more. The way that the guards are so aggressive with the inmates, and uh, in one moment, Brendan Gleeson's guard accidentally strangles an inmate to death. I mean, just to keep him quiet. Yeah, that was rather shocking. This movie makes Deadpool and Wolverine look like sunshine and rainbows in comparison, in tone, and then Lee Gill as Gary returns. And he gets one of my favorite moments in the movie. Arthur's representing himself in his full clown look and interrogating Gary, and and Gary, bless him, he was he's been traumatized and scarred by seeing Arthur murder Randall ever since. But for the past 2 years, it's changed him forever. And even we see Sophie Drummond testify against Arthur about how uh, yeah, she uh, uh, never was his girlfriend, and we even see his therapist return, and how and Kane, and how she uh, was always skeptical about Arthur as a person from the get go. So, see, Folie Do haters, this sequel isn't pointless. We did need it to see the aftermath and of what Arthur did in the first movie. There were still more things to wrap up. This trial perfectly justified that. This is the most gripping trial I've seen on film since Miracle on 34th Street, 1994, and even Harvey Dent in this movie. I mean, we don't get to see we barely get to see him as Two-Face, but when he is on screen, he's like Arthur's enemy in this movie, convinced Arthur is a monster and deserves the death penalty. So uh, yeah, he uh, is never would have thought Joker and Two-Face would be arch enemies, but here we are. When Arthur gets to bash Harvey's head with a stool in the Joker is Me musical number. I mean, you're like, well, you can see why Arthur has this much resentment towards Dent, and then uh, and even Arthur's lawyer, she is the one. She doesn't want Lee sitting too close to Arthur because, unlike Lee, she wants Arthur to be Arthur, not Joker. So her inclusion of the movie is vital because she's like the polar opposite to Arthur and plays a part in his decision at the end. So when Arthur makes the decision to fire her and represent himself in the trial, you're like, oh, Arthur, uh, you uh, you just made the biggest mistake of firing her because she could have got you out of this. But that does play into the tragedy of the movie. But Hildur Gorinder's score, I mean, yeah, while she does reuse some themes from the first movie, like the bathroom dancer theme, and the score for this film is slightly more eerie, less bombastic than the first movie, but it's still chilling and my favorite score of this year, and combined with the musical numbers makes for the go-to soundtrack of 2024, which is now available to listen to on Spotify. Oh, and also that animated Looney Tunes cartoon in the opening of the film made me smile as much as the smile on Arthur's clown face. I felt like a real kid again seeing the events of the first Joker when Arthur was on Murray Franklin in animation form, and his shadow was doing all the crimes like an evil version of Peter Pan's shadow. It was a genius opening. Probably has topped even Caesar's Funeral as my favorite opening scene to a movie this year. I mean, I do love it when Warner Brothers movies put an animated scene in a live action movie, like the Three Brothers animated scene in Deathly Hallows Part 1. And this movie may be longer than its predecessor at 2 hours 20 minutes, but it felt it felt practically the same runtime as the first film, as I was completely gripped in the Arkham Asylum scenes, and I was completely gripped throughout the trial. Now let's get to the shocking ending, which is without question even more unpredictable and mind-blowing than Joker shooting Murray Franklin 5 years ago. This ending will no joke divide lots and lots of people. It's not going to sit well with everybody. I've accepted that, but for me, I dig it. And that after this ending and analysis, I can say that Joker 2019 and Joker Folie Do work perfectly as a two-part story, and there's no need for a Joker 3 after this. Arthur pleads guilty and takes full responsibility for his murders, as he's tired of being Joker, and it's uh, it's brought him no happiness standing up to society and as Joker and being a murderer, showing that the good and lovable Arthur Fleck we knew before hasn't completely gone, but Lee is and his other follower in Arkham are not happy with his decision. Lee disowns him for renouncing his Joker title, and she activates a bomb that blows up the entire last day of the trial. Arthur survives the bomb, and he is rescued by his followers only to break free. And he finds Lee on the steps that he danced down in the first movie in his old neighborhood, and she's oh well, screw you. If you are not going to be Joker, we have got no future together. Arthur's taken back to Arkham, and he's lost everything. He's lost the love of his life because of the decision he made to go back to Arthur. So it goes to show at this point it was too late to stop being Joker. He'd inspired a ton of people. Renouncing his Joker title, he let them down deeply. So had he made the decision to stay Joker, he could have somehow escaped with Harley, and they could have built that mountain that they planned. Arthur could have lived to see his child, but then Arthur meets up with the his former inmate who idolized him, and this ending you are not ready for. Arthur dies. Yep, Joker Folie kills off the Joker. I personally applaud. Well, I I personally see this as a bold ending that subverts your expectations, and I don't think we've seen the joke. I don't think anything has killed off the Joker since Batman Arkham City. I completely get why this ending would piss off all the hardcore DC and Joker fans and turn them away from the Joker duology. But for me, it was a fitting end to Arthur's story. It's the perfect "be careful what you wish for" ending, and be and be careful with your decisions. And after the inmate, he stabs Arthur, and then Arthur bleeds out and dies on the floor, and the inmate carves a Joker smile on his face, and Lady Gaga's song plays in the credits. That's live. I was coming out of that cinema completely and utterly fucking blown away. I am all for risky movies and bold movies, and this movie should be praised for being so daring and not to haces. So overall, Joker Folie do a all-out masterpiece. It's one of the greatest comic book sequels ever, and I mean, even if Birds of Prey still remains my favourite comic book sequel, but Joker Folie was the perfect way to start my birthday month this year, and the perfect first thing to do for my 29th birthday.
I give Joker Folie a do 5 stars out of 5. Best comic book sequel ever.
So yeah, this is gonna be the most divisive and pulverizing, controversial review on my channel. I have no idea how people are gonna react to my uh, rave review for such a trashed movie, but hey, I'm standing my ground with this one. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. What are your thoughts on Joker Folie? Are you with me and are coming to this movie's defense, or are you with the majority and think it's a pointless sequel that should never have been made? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'll see you next time, where I will continue with DC month as well as other reviews. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.